Speaking freedom. Speaking freedom. Giving you the answers to be free. Be free. Be free. 'Cause we're speaking freedom.
I think we on the same page. You know what I'm saying? That's what parenting is really all about. You know, parenting really all about. You got your opinion, I got mine. Now we got to put them together and blend them.
Facts.
And that's the way it works. I just think that this, you know, there's something going on with the daughter, obviously, that hasn't been said. There's something going on with the mom and her issues with the daughter. But more so, there's something going on with the communication between the mama and the husband. Just the husband and wife. Something going on between them two. What you think?
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Listen, I'm a bonus mom. And when my stepdaughter used to come over for like the summer, I made sure that I catered to her because I knew that she didn't have what she has when she comes home with us at her home with her mom. So I get that caller because as a bonus mom, I just wanted to make sure that her stay with her dad was everything.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, you're so welcome.
That was great. Thanks, Mama. Frank Skisho, what's your comment real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think that it's a lot wrong with that situation. I think that the lady has a lack of morals. If you are jealous over a child, a 9-year-old child, then if you are willing to divorce somebody or leave a relationship because somebody's not cooking bacon one day out of the year, I mean,
Okay.
it's absurd.
Okay.
I mean,
Say that again, please. If you know what.
Whoa.
That's just a fact. If a man's not willing to cook you bacon one day out of the year and you decide to leave the relationship, you lack a whole lot of morals, man.
All right.
He said if someone ain't cooking you bacon for one
Wow.
time out the year.
Freddie B, Fred Blankenship.
Okay, so give the little narrative that I heard earlier. So evidently a person called in and left a message or wrote in or some shit and was complaining about their stepdaughter. I guess whenever they come around, put his hands up under his coat. So this little boy is walking around down the street, but he ain't got no fucking gloves on. He's just out here trying to get to wherever he's trying to get to. Anyways, so, and I was going to tell him to put his hands up under his arms so that he could, you know, warm his hands up or whatever. That's just the warmest place that you're going to get. But sometimes it feels awkward yelling at or talking to people from in your car like that. And because he looks like he's in maybe high school or whatever, I just didn't want that to be. He may even be in middle school because at this time of day, the middle school just started and he may have to walk to school today for whatever reason. Now, I have in the past, but it's not safe on the child's behalf to pick up a child and take them to school or whatever, especially when it's kind of chilly outside. But he's right there and I didn't say nothing because, I mean, I just don't want to make a child uncomfortable. Anyways, so on the show earlier today, when I tapped in, they were talking about this caller that they had. Now, this caller got bonus daughter, and I guess the husband maybe have some type of favoritism, but she called in, I guess, complaining about how she feels with the way that the husband treats the daughter or doesn't. I don't know that part. That part I'm confused on because I didn't hear that part. But another caller called in and was saying how when she was married, now she's divorced, she had a bonus son that could come over and do anything. And basically her child couldn't do nothing, but the bonus son could do whatever he wanted, which is awkward for the child that lives there because why he get to come and do whatever the fuck he want to do. And now I got to, you know what I'm saying, but I can't do nothing. So the lady was also saying that she felt like the situation was gaslighted because he would yell at her if she one time she said something about something and he started yelling at her and made her feel uncomfortable, but that was the last straw in the relationship. So Now, what you've just heard is them saying that the lady is something wrong with the lady because she's complaining about little stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna be the first one to tell you that for majority of the cases, when a woman begins to complain about nitpicky shit, it's because she is getting over the relationship. A person that really love you, that is riding the wave with you, you know what I'm saying? They may get frustrated, but they are not looking for reasons to leave. So evidently at some point the husband didn't cook her bacon and she was just ready to go. But that's something, when you get mad about stupid shit, it's because you've been mad about big shit for a long time and you ain't said shit. So now you are on pins and needles. It's almost like this is the reason why, because the one lady was like, well, she was walking on eggshells in a relationship. One of the reasons why you end up walking on eggshells is, one, because it's like a minefield when you're in a relationship where the communication is not full circle, when the communication is not thorough, or if you feel like every time that you say something you're gonna get yelled at, fussed at, or emotionally abused, then eventually you begin to shut down. Now, the problem with communication in relationships is that in most cases, people have never been taught how to express their emotions healthy. A lot of times people have not been taught how to build solid levels and open up the communication in a way to where, listen, if something is bothering me, I should be able to talk to you about that bothering me without it triggering a whole temper tantrum type of episode. Because, you know, when I was in, I say, you know, because I talk about this a lot in a lot of videos that I've done. When I was married, one of the reasons why we got a divorce was because we had horrible, we were cool. We should have been friends, I think. If we would have been friends and we would have never tried to get married, I think that we would have been more beneficial to each other. Although I'm very thankful for my children, we did not know how to communicate effectively. Well, I would try to communicate. He would get mad most of the time, and then he would blow up, or, you know what I'm saying, like spaz out. So I always felt uncomfortable saying stuff because it would always go too far. It was like anytime that I would say that I had a problem, then, or that I had concerns, or that something was not going in a way that was favorable to the both of us, he would just get mad. Like, he would be mad because he felt like I knew everything, or I knew more than him. Then he would be mad because if I say something, then, you know, he feel like he not good. It was like he was insecure with my ability to address issues so that we could improve together. The thing about communication is that without communication, there is no way for you to grow together in a relationship. Communication is key. You have to be able to talk about when something is wrong. And you have to be able to talk about it with the person that you're with, and even welcome that without getting upset about everything. So, like, one of the things that, you know, at the end of our relationship, it was to the point to where I would be scared to even say anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was like I had just shut down, because now if I say something and somebody think that it's, you know what I'm saying, it was crazy. Like, I would just be walking around just mad or sad. You know what I'm saying? We was doing silent treatment, but it started earlier on in the relationship. Like, so But one of the things that I realized now, and I was just telling my children this as I was dropping them off to school, and they asking, why is they on here with this drama? It's so early. I was like, ooh, thank you. That's how I be thinking. Like, why is y'all talking about this? Why the first thing that a person hear when they get in the car is some drama-filled madness? But I guess for someone, it could be helping somebody get through a difficult situation or something that they can relate to. So it's helpful, but it's also like, why? So I was explaining to the children, like, you know, a lot of times when people get into a relationship and get married, they never discuss how they're going to raise their children. They never say, you know what, this is what I believe when it comes to raising. We didn't do that. So when I had children, and I thought that because of his displacement and his family being raised by his grandmother and his mother and father not really being present in his life, that it would make him be even more, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me, my mama not being around, my mama being flaky and shifty and all of that, it makes me want to be a better parent, not be okay with being average, not be okay with, you know what I'm saying, not being in my child's life. Like, I couldn't imagine, you know what I'm saying, how some men act about their children. Like, I just thought that I was marrying somebody that was going to be like on it. And it turned out that he wasn't at all. And that was frustrating. So as time went on, then we would be fussing about shit that we never even talked about prior to having children, like how we would raise them, what the discipline would be like, because he was raised real stern and got beat, and I didn't get beat like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had whoopings every now and then, but not from my mother. But, you know, so a lot of people don't talk about how they're going to raise their children, what they believe, their likes, their dislikes, their triggers, their traumas. None of those things are really top of discussion when you meet people. And a lot of people will cover up who they are in their malicious and nasty and evil ways. Sometimes it's not that they're covering up. They just haven't been exposed to a situation that would have for them to act the way that would be considered malicious or foul or, you know what I'm saying, disloyal. It takes for people to be put in certain situations for you to see how they'll act. Because a lot of times a person will say, well, I'm not like this or I'm not like that. And then when they're put in that situation to show who they are and what they're really like, it ends up being that, wait a minute, hold up. You are this way, but you talk like you're not. And a lot of people talk a good game, but you got to walk it like you talk it. So in order for you to really, for real, develop a good blended family, or even to start and grow a family, because me and my ex-husband, we didn't have kids. We are only baby mama, baby daddy, you know what I'm saying? My ex-husband is the only people I got kids by, and I'm the only people that my ex-husband got kids by. We ain't got no whole bunch of kids here, there, and everywhere. Nigga, he don't even want no more kids with his new wife, and I feel bad for her, because I want them to have another baby. I think that they would, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, it might not be a good thing, you know, but he knows now the type of father that he is capable of being. So he doesn't want any more children. And I understand that. And I respect that, because, you know, why put more on your plate if you can't handle what's already there to be, you know what I'm saying, managed. So, when I'm listening to this morning show talking about this drama with that person's family and how to handle issues, like, one thing is, if you are anxious to leave, that means that there's been a buildup of things that you've been, well, I'm, you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to say nothing, I'm not going to say nothing. And normally in those situations, divorce has probably came up. But when you're dealing with stepchildren, bonus mom, stepmom, however narrative you like to have it, it can be conflicting, because in some instances you have children that want their parents to get back together, so they start rifts and beefs with whoever they're with now. Then you got children that feel like, well, that person may not deserve their parent, or they may feel like they're being replaced. So in order for them as a child not to feel like they're being replaced by the new woman in their dad's life, or like that person is going to be before them, then that child can act out. That child can sometimes do things that will make the mom, the stepmom, the bonus mom feel uncomfortable, because how do I handle dealing with my husband's child if it is a combative situation? Because not all children are innocent. And I hate to say that like that, but there are some children that are very mischievous and will do things to run away people, to break up homes. And if the mom, the regular mom, ain't no telling what her mindset is, what she talks about when the child is in front of her, and all those things. Because a lot of times you get a child that's acting out towards an adult because they've heard another adult talk bad about that adult. So now that child feels like, well, I'm going to treat you like this because this is how I feel. So when you're dealing with situations in regards to blending families and dealing with bonus moms and the real mom and whatever relationship that might be, because depending on how our relationship is formed, a baby mama can be jealous. A baby mama could have hatred. A baby mama could, you know what I'm saying, be as bitter as she want to be because somebody else got, you know, a lot of times we see on social media where people be like, well, I'm not fixing no man up to be with another woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he get better, and then like, and bitches be bitter. They be bitter betties because a man did not want to marry them, did not want to have children with them, and then they will in turn, instead of saying, you know what, it didn't work out for us, but if he can move on and be a better man for somebody else, then great. But 9 times out of 10, just because one woman got your ex, it does not mean that she's getting more than what you got when you were with them. Sometimes they're getting less or equal. You know what I'm saying? And if you were unhappy and the relationship broke up, then there's no reason for you to be upset that they moved on. If the relationship wasn't working, if it was unhealthy, then when you finish dealing with a person, allow that person to go on and be happy, because the happier they are, the easier they will make your life. The more that person is fulfilled in another relationship, then they ain't worried about what the fuck you got going on. And if you in another relationship, all they trying to do is make sure that you stay out their way and they stay out your way. Now, sometimes both men and women can use the children to hate. Not picking them up, not being present. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of things that people do, and using the children to manipulate situations. So sometimes we think that stepmoms are just being bitches, or something is wrong with them because you're dealing with a child. But sometimes children will give you more lip and treat you like, they will talk to you crazy, treat you crazy. You never know what that child is being told by her mother, what she sees going on in a household. You never know what the child hears the dad saying about the relationship, about the woman, if they fighting and fussing. You never know what a child is taking in and consuming. And when you don't know what that child is consuming, you don't know how that shapes the child outlook. And a lot of times as adults, we don't consider how the things that we do affect the children and the people that are close to us. So everything that we do, the people around us are able to see it, and it affects their perspective on life. It doesn't matter if it's an adult, if it's a child, if it's a family, a friend, a neighbor, somebody you're barely close with. You know what I'm saying? When you begin to bring people into your life, when you begin to connect with people, when you interact with people, every interaction that you have affects the outlook of you and life on that person. So when you're dealing with children, they're even more receptive. So between the ages of like, I know they say the developmental stages is between probably like 2 or 1 and 5 or whatever that shit is, but that may be for motor skills and physical ability and for you to assess that nature of the child. But their personality, their what they're taking in, they're watching from probably about 2 or 3. They're seeing everything that you do. They're starting to mimic those things in those areas too. And so when they get about 4, 5, and 6, when they really start talking and their personality really start kicking in, like the child has a personality, and then the things that they learn from what they see plays a part in what their personality develops to be. So if a child is witnessing drama, then they are getting a certain outlook on life from that drama. And in addition to getting a certain outlook on life from that drama, they're also shaping their personality, their perspective, and how they deal with the people that they're around. So if you get and I try my best not to do this, but if you send your children to the co-parent's home, and that co-parent is talking bad, saying craziness, or doing anything towards the person that you live with or that you're visiting or going back to, because if it's a shared custody, then y'all having part-time visits with each other, that shit affects a child, because one is the shuffling back and forth, then it's the different households and how the households are ran, then it's the different personalities, the different parenting sets, and then because it's separate, they could tell one parent one thing and tell another parent another thing, and then if the communication is not all the way there, then that can cause a rift between the parents, and then it's already difficult for most. It's not difficult for me. Like I was telling my children earlier, even when their dad is not living up to my expectations, I don't complain a lot, because guess what? He's doing more than what my dad did and his dad did, and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am not gonna knock him for the effort that he does have. Although I would like it to be more, I can't force him to do more than what he feels like he's capable of. And if he's okay with that relationship, then I have to be okay with them being okay with however the cookie crumbles. But what I want to show you and share with you is the perspective, because I don't really say a lot about a lot of things about my ex-husband or his new relationship, but I do, and I am very honest. I do keep it real, and I'm very honest with my children about why we broke up, the way, the dysfunction of the relationship and how unhealthy it was. And I don't do that for them to get a bad look on him, but for them to know the reality, and for them not to believe that they are the reason why we didn't last or achieve longevity. But it's crazy, because my daughter hears his new wife complaining about shit that I could complain about to my daughter about how the relationship was. And it's crazy, because I don't like that his new wife complains and my daughter hears it, but I love it in the sense that my daughter is getting a sense of reality of how men are. And I told her, Instead of having a man that you got to pay for everything, there are men that will pay for everything for you, where you ain't got to do everything, where you ain't got to wear the pants in a relationship. There are men that will do everything for you that you desire, and you don't have to be in a situation where you're complaining about your relationship. And, so, like, but I'm different. Like the caller just said, I am one that likes to, I don't cater to my children, because in my household is the up level of living, in a sense, because we have a nice house. You know what I'm saying? My circumstances are a lot different, so I'm not slaving at a job. I'm not doing the things that they do, and they do all of those things, and their house is a little bit smaller, no shade. They been sleeping on the air mattress for over a year. I don't know why. But them living like goddamn stepchildren at their daddy house, it will help them balance life. Like they don't see nothing wrong with them sleeping on the air mattress, but I do tell them that they should not be sleeping on the air mattress for a whole year. At this point, the air mattress probably don't even goddamn blow up like it should, so they basically sleeping on the fucking floor while everybody else in goddamn beds. But here, they ain't never had to sleep on the floor. If they sleep on the floor here, is because they choose to sleep on the floor. They ain't never got to worry about, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit that at my house that we have. We had a basketball court in the back. They, you know what I'm saying? It's big enough for them to run around, and you know what I'm saying? Like, we have a lot of amenities in our home, in addition to having a big home, in addition to making sure that my refrigerator always got food in it. So, the differences is good. It's almost like having a house, that a parent that lives in a house and a parent that live in the projects. You know what I'm saying? That's good for your character building, because we live like this, but we also live like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you could see the difference in living, the difference in understanding, the difference in loving, the difference in a whole lot of things when you're dealing with different type of environments. So I said a lot, but what I want to leave you with as I get ready to wrap this up is that sometimes kids can be manipulative, depending on their intellect, because children are extremely smart and they will try to outsmart you if they feel like they can. So kids can be manipulative as well, especially if they're learning manipulation, if they're learning to lie, if they're learning to, be conniving to get what they want in their homes, from their parents and their guardians. Like, and when I say if they're learning that, it doesn't mean that always a parent is saying, this is how you lie, this is how you connive, this is how you manipulate, this is how you do wrong. Now, some parents will teach their children, this is how you manipulate, this is how you get over. But also, when you are extremely strict, that child has to learn to maneuver around your rules. So they are more likely to learn how to be manipulative, to try to get around the rules that were created to protect them, but to shelter them as well. So you can be teaching your children things that you don't realize you're teaching them by the way that you parent. So if you're not balanced and they got to lie to you in order for you to accept who they are, if they got to be manipulative to sneak out and do this or do that, those are oftentimes, it's an extreme. You get the parents that's super strict, and then their children be off the chain because they got to sneak and geek and all of that shit. And then you got the parents that will teach their children how to do some fucked up shit. But then you have to find the middle ground. And sometimes co-parenting can create that middle ground, because in one instance, you're seeing the livelihood and the results of one way of living, thinking, and being. And in another situation, on the other co-parent side, you're seeing a whole different result of living, being, and you know what I'm saying? Like you get to see two variations, so that can create balance. But never think that just because a child is a child, that child cannot be manipulative, because if they have manipulative parents, or if they hear their parents bad talking the stepmother or step parent or the relationship or whatever, then that can also have a bad effect on how that child acts when they go back and forth between two households. So it's a lot of things that compile to make tumultuous or difficult co-parenting situations, and a lot of times it can come from or stem from bitter ex situations, and sometimes it's not that intentionally being done, but it's that it's a byproduct of complaining and murmuring, and you know what I'm saying, not being satisfied, or not wanting to see somebody else move on and be happy. Like, if I help a man to be a better man to the next woman, I think that I've done a good job as a woman, because you should not quit fucking with me and then go and treat somebody worse unless you felt played. But I don't never play niggas, so my goal is to help you be. You may not marry me, but be good enough to marry the next person that you meet. Be in the mindset, grow from this relationship. And honestly, that's pretty much how I think. But I also know that a lot of women are not okay with a man being a better man with the next person, or them getting their shit together. Now, most of the times, men don't become better men with the next person. A lot of times men will not address their issues in order to become a better man. They'll just jump from person to person to person, like women do often. So overall, when you get to a place to where you want the best for other people because you want the best for yourself, and you're not willing to settle, then you will be happy when somebody move along, because they're waiting for you, and whoever is for you can make it to you, because you're not holding up that spot with somebody that means nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then in order to really get who you need to be with, you should prepare. You got to get your mindset ready. You got to understand yourself, learn yourself, grow within yourself, so that you are able to give that next person that you're going to be with the best version of you. And that's easy to do if you really focus on yourself for a little while before jumping into another relationship. And all of these things play a part in the beginning conversation, because if the communication is off in a relationship, if y'all not fulfilled, then adding children to the mix, or introducing your children into something that's already unhealthy, and y'all just married for the status, for the titles and all of that, then it will lead to divorce. It will reflect bad on the children. It will, all of those things are a reality, because the relationship didn't start off in a good place. And the only way to start off a relationship in a good place is to be in a good place within yourself, and then have that good place that you're in to overflow. Like, if you're healed, then you want the best for you, but you don't just want the best for you. You want the best for others too. Because if you know that wasting your time is unhealthy for you, then you won't want to waste nobody else's time. If you know that holding somebody up, you don't want nobody to play games with you, then you're not going to stick around and play games with nobody else. So a lot of it is, when you address the self-love issues, you address a lot of the other things, because you're not going to tolerate, you're not going to put up with, and it'll change your whole perspective and narrative on who you're dealing with, which will help with the co-parenting situations, will help with the, domestic situations, and, and the communication. So that is important. All right, gotta go. Love you. Bye. Speaking Freedom presents Good Head Group, providing advanced spiritual studies and personal developmental insight. Brought to you by Love Gang and Speaking Freedom. We look forward to helping you grow in all the areas of your life. We hope that you find all the information needed for your growth. God bless. Please listen to all disclaimers provided. If you are currently under physician's care, please maintain that relationship. This is not intended to stop your current treatment plan. If you need physician care, please seek out medical attention. Please note, all results are based on the individual's ability to adapt and adjust to any given environment and situation. We are not responsible for your results at Speaking Freedom. The life enhancement coaches at Speaking Freedom provide information to help you grow. You are responsible for maintaining that growth, taking on and then applying the information to your individual life as you deem needed and necessary. This may contain and explain explicit content. Please use parental discretion. For best results, you will need an open mind, the ability to research, and a balanced lifestyle.
Please join us daily for your inspiration and motivation.
We have the entire world to offer you at your fingertips. Your life enhancement coaching specialist. Thank you for choosing us to assist you in accomplishing your personal and professional goals. And have a beautiful day. In love, we trust. This is brought to you by Good Head Group, Love Gang, and Speaking Freedom. We thank God for you, and we love you.